right, we'll go ahead and start. I'm Tara Bell from Smoke Free SC. If we haven't met, thank you for joining us this Friday morning. We always like to start with a brief legislative update from ACS Can from Beth Johnson, who's on the meeting. So I'll pass it to her, and then after she presents, we'll get ready for our main topic of the day, Kirby Salerno, and some great resources for schools for their students. So Beth, you can go ahead and start. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Well, good morning. How is the sound? Can you guys hear me okay? I have you on my car phone, but I can change if needed.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good morning. I can't see you guys, so I don't know who's on the call, but I'm Beth Johnson. I'm the Government Relations Director for South Carolina, and I help cover the teams in North Carolina and Georgia. And I think I heard my colleague Kelly on the call, and so Kelly and I together work on tobacco issues in South Carolina. So I don't have a lot of updates to report on the federal level, except in court, of course, what we all know by now, which is that South Carolina lost $1.7 million in tobacco prevention and control funding, and that was money that came directly from the federal budget to our amazing and wonderful team and colleagues at Department of Public Health and Tobacco Prevention and Control. I think what I wanted just to kind of share more on is that we are continuing to work with our federal delegates and making them aware of this need and what this cut means to South Carolina. We are very concerned about the quit line, and from what we understand, and others on the call may be able to give a better update, but from what we understand right now, our South Carolina quit line is operating business as usual, and we hope that it will be able to continue that way. But, I do think there is some concern that with the department losing $1.7 million in federal funds, what does that mean? And I think it's still yet to be determined the impacts that losing those dollars may have. The good news is that we still have the $5 million of state dollars that goes toward tobacco prevention and control, and that is money that is generated from the revenue of the cigarette tax. And we are very blessed to have that in South Carolina and to have those funds, and they continue to go to the department. The other positive is that 2 years ago we were able to secure an additional $1 million for Smoke Free SC, and we are thankful that we still have some of those funds. I think, Barbara, the majority of that fund that we can use. Although we did not get any additional dollars this year through our ask, I think we are in a good place to set ourselves up for a bill that we would run in January of 2026. So you likely know that this year there were really no additional earmarks or community investment grants, another term for it. There were very few of those that happened. And that, of course, put us in a different place with the funding, tobacco prevention and control funding. We made the ask for dual settlement dollars, and we didn't get those funds. So the plan right now for partners at the national level and partners that we've been talking with at the state level is to prepare to have a bill filed. Pre-filed legislation can happen in November and December. So to prepare to have a bill filed November or December that would ask for the remainder of the dual settlement funds that are coming into South Carolina, to ask for the remainder of those dollars to go to tobacco prevention and control, and whatever route we need to take to move those dollars into the larger bucket. So what we're looking for right now in our plan and strategy is from now until really early fall, we are looking for the right champions. And when I say right champions, we're looking for legislators that are in the House and the Senate who are on appropriate committees like Finance and Ways and Means and the healthcare subcommittees, that we can really have a conversation with about the need and importance of tobacco prevention and control in South Carolina, and that we can help them see and understand that this loss in funding is really detrimental to our state, and that we have to supplement that with something. And we have those dual settlement funds that are sitting in an Attorney General's fund that they collect, because it was, of course, the court case. And we want those dollars to go where they were intended to go. So that's kind of our big picture plan. That's what we're doing with our legislature right now. It's July, and legislators don't want to talk to us at this moment, but we will start really working members hard in August and September. And so what I would encourage this group and other groups to think about is, if you have those relationships with your state legislators, to start having conversations with them about this need for funding. And I will send out, actually, I don't know, Kelly, if you're in front of your computer, if you could put it in the chat, or Tara, if you could share with this group, will you share the one pager that Molly from our team shared with everyone?
I will.
It's thank you so much. It's the implications of the loss of funding. What does it mean for our state? We have created a one pager, and I feel really good that we have that, and that we can start sharing that with legislators. So please feel free to do that, and reach out if you have any questions, or if you have an idea, or if you have a relationship that you want us to try to work with and tag into. Please let us know. We'd love to help you with that. Again, thinking August and September, October would be the time to really find those champions and educate them, and then hopefully get a bill pre-filed November or December, and then general session starts in January. So happy to take any questions. Not a lot coming out of the federal space right now for the world of tobacco. We have a lot coming out, but nothing anymore as it relates to tobacco.
Thank you, Beth. I'll get that file uploaded. Yeah, I'll upload that file now. Any questions for Beth? We'll research
Tara,
those.
if I could just make.
Go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. If I could just make one plug for the folks on the call, and again, I can't see who's on the call, so I may have already asked you this, but the biggest issue that we're fighting right now from the American Cancer Society's perspective, I'm just going to take a quick personal liberty and say, protecting Medicaid is super important for us, as likely it is for many of you on the call, and that's what we're talking to our federal legislators about. And I do have like a 5 minutes. What you can do in 5 minutes, tell your legislators to help protect Medicaid. We expect a vote on the big beautiful bill, the resolution, this weekend possibly. I was thinking today is Friday, so this weekend. So I'm going to share that with you, Tara, as well. And if it's appropriate to share with the group, then please do. But it's it's what you can do to tell your legislator to protect Medicaid and the people in South Carolina that depend on Medicaid as health insurance.
Is that the action alert that was emailed yesterday?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Do you want me to just copy that and put it in the chat as well?
Absolutely. If that's appropriate, yes, please do. Thank you.
I think so. Okay. I'm trying to share the document. Yeah, of course. Okay. If there aren't any questions for Beth, we'll move on. I will let Kirby Salerno introduce himself, because I always think people can introduce themselves better than I can if I don't know them that well. So I'll pass it on to you, Kirby, and let you introduce yourself and get into your presentation. Thank you for being here again.
Thanks, Tara. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. And that was a really interesting update on the legislative process. I'm on the New England, the board of the New England chapter of the American Lung Association. So we're dealing with a lot of similar types of issues and advocating for all the lots of similar things as it relates to the legislation in Washington and at the state level. So. My full-time job is CEO of Playbl, Playbl. Everybody kind of wonders what that means. It is the words play and able mind and able body, kind of smushed together. And I'm going to tell you more about our organization as I kind of go through a slide deck. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, hopefully you all can see that. Okay, so I can't see any of you, so if anybody has questions, I'm not sure what the best approach is. Maybe it's drop it in the chat or just sort of call out. But I'm more than happy to pause as we're going through here. Um, we are, as I said, Playbl, and we are affiliated with Yale School of Medicine. We were founded by a physician researcher at Yale. Her name is Dr. Lynn Feline, a couple of years ago, and our mission is to take evidence-based interventions, behavioral health interventions that were developed at the Yale School of Medicine out to schools and communities around the country to actually implement these interventions with youth. And so I'm going to tell you more about how we do that. First of all, just I think you all are probably very well aware of these statistics, but the use of e-cigarettes, vapes, is an epidemic among our youth across the country, and 27% of youth who use vapes or e-cigarettes use them daily. The numbers are pretty staggering if you look at the sort of globally. We're seeing, well, certainly the majority of kids are smoking uh, nicotine in vapes. We're seeing a huge increase in the use of cannabis and THC as well. Um, so when we talk to folks like yourselves all over the country, this is sort of what we typically hear is that students who vape we see increase in anxiety and behavioral issues, truancy, and suspensions. And if you can see the detailed graph on the side there, this is looking at high school and post-secondary outcomes based on ninth grade suspensions. And you can see that as the number of suspensions increases from 0 to 4, moving from left to right, we see a corresponding increase in the dropout rate and a corresponding decrease in the graduation rate, as well as actual enrollment in public schools. So the data is pretty clear that suspensions are not effective and actually really harm student success. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is keep kids in school and provide them with education instead of punishment. When we talk to schools and communities, and we do all day, every day, all over the country, what we hear pretty consistently is that they are looking for evidence-based tier 1 prevention and tier 2 intervention programs that address vaping and substance misuse, and that engaging content that meets youth where they are. And so the combination of evidence-based and engaging is what really everybody is looking for. We believe this, and there's all kinds of research to support it, but play is our brain's favorite way of learning. And unfortunately, we phase play out of learning after basically kindergarten. And so, one of our goals is to bring play back. And I'm going to tell you how we do that. Our goal is for older kids to engage in play-based learning as well. So we fall into a category called serious games, which are video games that are designed for more than just entertainment. Sometimes when we say that we use video games to address youth behavioral health, people sort of say, "Oh my gosh, I don't want my kids playing more video games." It's important to note these are not like Fortnite or World of Warcraft or any of these sort of big commercial games. These are games that are developed specifically to impact health behaviors. And this list here is sort of the broad list of health outcomes that are affected or impacted positively by serious games. We don't cover all of these issues, but it's sort of all the issues that the serious games do address. I mentioned that we were founded by Dr. Lynn Feline. This is Dr. Feline, and about a decade ago, She had she was on the faculty of Yale University School of Medicine. She's now on the faculty of the Dartmouth College Geisel School of Medicine. But while at Yale, she founded the Play to Prevent Lab with funding from the National Institutes of Health. And the goal of the lab was to test a hypothesis that she had that we could make real scalable impact on youth behavioral health outcomes by co-opting the best aspects of video games in the service of health education. And so, with again grants from the National Institutes of Health, she built a team of researchers and game designers, and ultimately they created 5 video games focused on a range of behavioral health topics. The two that you see listed here are what we would consider to be our flagship games. Smokescreen, which is what we're going to focus on today, is focused on vaping and smoking, nicotine, tobacco prevention for middle school age kids. Play Smart is actually the newest game, and it focuses on opioid misuse prevention for high school age students. And there's also a big mental health component to Play Smart. I think one of the most important things to note about these games is that they are heavily evidence-based. So the Play to Prevent Lab has published 25 studies in peer-reviewed journals that demonstrate the efficacy of these games. And there's all kinds of data points that come out of these studies. But the one that I'm highlighting here is one of the most important, which is the ability for these games to increase youth's risk perception towards e-cigarettes. And this is a very important finding because the tobacco industry has spent billions of dollars trying to convince us and including youth that vaping is a safe alternative to combustible cigarettes. And we know now that that is not the case, that there are significant harms that come from the use of e-cigarettes. And so, if we can increase youth risk perception towards vaping, then we can really impact behavior change. As this research has started to come out over the last 5 to 7 years, many different agencies have picked up on the games, including the CDC, the Office of the U.S. Surgeon General, and SAMHSA. And sorry, I put those in the wrong order. I wanted to mention the SAMHSA report this is how actually many educators find out about us is through this report on reducing vaping among youth and young adults. Smokescreen is listed as one of a few evidence-based programs for reducing vaping among youth. And that's it. You easily Google that and find that study. I wanted to note that this spring, last year, about this time, the Kentucky Department of Health reached out to us to initiate a pilot program in schools across the state of Kentucky. Kentucky actually passed a law last year called HB 142 that requires all students in the state of Kentucky to receive evidence-based vaping prevention education. And so, the Department of Health initiated a pilot with us to test smokescreen in their schools. And this just gives you a sampling of some of the results of that pilot program, which we ran this spring. And you can see that statistically significant improvements across a range of different outcomes, whether that's kids understanding that flavored tobacco does not contain nicotine. The vapor in e-cigarettes is only water. That's a misperception that is corrected. Flavored tobacco makes the product safer to use. So, a variety of different issues that, we found that from pre to post statistically significant improvements. So we refer to the work that we do with schools, and not exclusively with schools. We work with community-based organizations that implement in a variety of different settings, but it could be after-school programs, YMCAs, et cetera. But schools are predominantly where we implement our programs. And we have end to end, meaning we start with tier 1 prevention and we end with tier 2 intervention. So the tier 1 prevention would be smokescreen, which is designed for basically sixth graders is kind of the sweet spot, but roughly fifth to seventh graders. We know from the research that vaping initiation peaks in eighth grade, and so we're trying to get to kids before eighth grade and teach them about the harms of vaping and help them build skills to refuse vaping when they're exposed to it through a variety of different social settings. Um, and then the tier 2 intervention is actually our newest program that we developed because we heard from so many of our partner schools and organizations that they were really struggling with the kids who are already vaping and looking for restorative alternatives to suspension. And so we developed Refresh for middle and high school students to help them move towards quitting. And I'm going to tell you about both of these programs in a little bit more detail. First of all, Smokescreen focused on tobacco use prevention, smoking and vaping in adolescence. It is narrative driven. I think of this as a kind of real world simulated environment where kids pick an avatar, a kid that they kind of feel like they can associate with, and then they follow that kid, that avatar, through this simulated school environment where they're the new kid at school and they want to meet new friends and decide who they want to sort of get closer to. And they learn as they're interacting with kids about vaping, and they occasionally get sort of peer pressured into trying vaping, and they need to use skills to avoid those situations. The length of the play is approximately 3 hours if you play from beginning to end, but we recommend a minimum dosage of 90 minutes. So typically three 30-minute sessions. The optimal scenario would be that it is implemented as part of a health curriculum, a nicotine unit, and again, sort of carving out three 30-minute sessions. Okay, so that's Smokescreen. I'm going to show a quick video overview of the game, and hopefully you all will be able to both see and hear this.
Smokescreen is a game about building a personal network of friends, family, and acquaintances while dealing with people who don't always do the right thing, like using tobacco or vaping. In Smokescreen, you are the new kid in school. Your job? Make friends and find cool people to hang out with. Be a successful student and achieve your dream of going to college. There are lots of interesting people you could see being your friends, but you have to be selective. Some people will help you move forward with your goals, but others may hold you back and tempt you with unhealthy choices, like smoking cigarettes. You will face situations where people want you to join them in their poor decisions, and sometimes friends just need your help as they face a tough choice of their own. You'll have to decide whether to go along with them, convince them not to make those choices, or reevaluate your friendships. Smokescreen makes you more aware of how people influence you and how to influence others in ways that can make everyone healthier and happier. Be more prepared to deal with choices that aren't always as easy as they seem. Play Smokescreen well, and you'll make healthy friends for life, creating amazing high school memories and be on your way to a brighter future. Smokescreen is developed by Yale's Play to Prevent Lab.
Okay, that's a quick overview of Smokescreen. And now I'm going to talk about Refresh. Refresh is the Tier 2 alternative to suspension program. It is an evidence-informed program for middle and high school age students. So whereas Smokescreen is really kind of the early middle school, Refresh is more later middle school and high school. There are 5 interactive video modules that cover vaping triggers, health impacts, coping strategies, and quitting support. We integrate research-based therapeutic techniques like CBT and DBT. And the goal for that is to promote self-awareness and positive behavior change, recognizing that oftentimes kids choose to vape as a coping mechanism. and it's related to stressors in their life. And so we're trying to get to the root cause of that and help them really think about why they're vaping. And so there's, exercises on reframing negative thoughts and deep breathing and things that they can do to control anxiety that doesn't require them to hit a vape. I think importantly, we include in this course actionable steps for change. So, and this actually came directly from focus groups that we did with schools around the country, where they asked it what the follow-on from the course was. And so we developed a personalized quit plan, basically a journal that at the end of the course, the kids download and they work with a counselor to complete that journal or that quit plan, so that they are moving towards, they have a clear plan of action to move towards quitting. So that is the overview there, and I'm going to play a quick video demo here as well.
Introducing Refresh, a scientifically grounded vaping intervention designed specifically for adolescents, integrating powerful techniques like motivational interviewing, CBT, and DBT. Refresh goes beyond punishment and keeps the youth in school where continued learning happens. This research-backed alternative to suspension course uses these evidence-based skills to empower positive change and maintain students' connection to their education. Refresh isn't just information, it's an engaging experience. Through interactive video training, relatable peer stories from campaigns like the FDA's The Real Cost, and practical exercises, students actively explore their vaping habits and triggers. Across 5 comprehensive lessons, Refresh equips students with essential life skills. They'll learn to understand their thoughts and feelings, manage cravings through mindfulness and balanced thinking, and develop healthy coping mechanisms, skills that extend far beyond vaping cessation. Rooted in solid research, Refresh provides crucial education on the physical and mental health consequences of vaping. By understanding the science behind addiction and its impact on their bodies and minds, students are empowered to make informed decisions. Refresh offers a vital alternative to suspension, keeping students in school and providing them with the tools and support they need for lasting change. It fosters self-awareness, builds resilience, and encourages the development of positive habits for a vape-free future. Invest in your students' well-being and create a supportive school environment. Discover the power of Refresh. Visit Playbl.
Okay, that is the overview of Refresh, and I wanted to point out that Refresh has a parent edition. And again, this came directly from discussions with our school partners. And we had heard a number of them say that parents were unfortunately often part of the problem, and they were trying to figure out how they could make parents be part of the solution. And what they told us is that parents kind of fall into 2 categories. One is ignorant parents, and that I would include myself in that category a couple of years ago, just really not understanding much about vaping at all, much less being able to identify what a vape pen looks like. The other category are parents who are actually vaping themselves, and in some cases furnishing vapes to their children. And so we developed a mini course that's kind of derivative of the youth edition that educates parents about what is vaping, what are the effects of vaping on the body and the mind, and what can they do, what strategies can they use to support their children who may be vaping or may be tempted to vape at some point in the future. We see schools and communities using this in 2 different ways. Basically, one is more tier 1, which is we're sending this out to all the parents and caregivers in our community to educate everybody about vaping as part of a sort of comprehensive effort to reduce vaping. Or the other is really more the tier 2, 3, where it's just being sent to the parents of the kids who are identified or who have been caught. So that there's a home component to the process. So the last thing that I wanted to just point out is that we provide implementation support to our partners, and that includes training, orientation via Zoom, companion guides that include lesson plans that if educators are interested in implementing lesson plans alongside of the kids playing the games or going through the course, they can do that. Pre and post assessments or surveys for all of our programs. This is because we're so rooted in research. We collect data as a sort of standard part of the process. And then when we analyze that data. I showed you the Kentucky data, but we do that for all of our partners. Progress tracking, so you can just log into our app and you can see where kids are as they're going through the game or going through the course. And then, of course, tech support. These are web-based programs. As long as students have access to a device and the internet and a browser, there are really very few technical issues. But we do, yeah, we provide single sign-on and roster integration and those kind of things for schools. That's really the most of it. This is a teacher actually in Maine who has been using Smokescreen for the last couple of years, and just to give you a sense of her experience of using it as part of her health curriculum. So that is pretty much it. I think the other thing that I should mention, because I'm assuming that it will be probably the first question, is the cost to implement our programs. So the easiest way to think about it is $1,500 per program per year per school. So if you wanted to implement Smokescreen in a school setting, it would be $1,500 per year, and that's all unlimited logins and all of the support that I mentioned. If you wanted to implement both Smokescreen and Refresh, which is the typical order, if you will, it would be $3,000 for a school per year. We do bulk discounts if districts want to work with us with multiple schools. But that is the sort of standard list pricing, if you will. So with that said, I think I can stop sharing and answer any questions that people would like to throw out.
Thank you, Kirby. My internet kicked me off a minute ago, so I had to connect with my personal hotspot. So hopefully y'all can hear me.
We can hear.
This is Dave Keeley, and we made it to the top. But question: who is your competition? Who's out there that you're competing with your program?
Yeah, good question, Dr. Keeley. I would like to see the view if you wouldn't mind. There we go. Wow, that's amazing. I go to a spot in Lake George in upstate New York that has a view very, very similar to that. It's called Buck Mountain. So yeah, as far as competition on the prevention side, there's very little. There just aren't a lot of evidence-based prevention programs. There are a number of intervention programs. The American Lung Association has some programs. Stanford University has a program. I think there's a program out of Texas. So there are a number of interventions that have been around for a long time. And what we typically hear is, we've been using, say, in-depth. That's one of them. We've been using that for 5-7 years, and we're really looking for something new, right? That it's just it requires a lot of educator training, and the kids don't find it very engaging. So we're looking for something new that requires less of a lift by the educators and is more engaging for the kids. So that's why we developed Refresh. But Smokescreen is there's just not a lot out there that sort of competes directly with Smokescreen to educate sixth and seventh graders on vaping, to prevent vaping.
Well, I listened, and I really love the principle that was developed, with the play, and so thank you for sharing really informative presentation. Yeah.
Thanks
And
for.
here's the view again with Mount Mitchell in the background.
That's spectacular. I think this is the first time somebody has listened to my presentation while hiking up a mountain. So this is pretty awesome.
Thank you, Dr. Keeley. I really liked the refresh portion and how you talked about how it was formed, from what you were hearing from Smokescreen and the different components. And I really like the parent component, how the parents can join in and be a part of that as well. How long has that been available, Refresh?
Refresh is new, just new this spring. So we implemented in pilots, and we actually did cohort data analysis from the initial cohort and have very positive results with a small group of students. So as we continue to implement it, as I said, every time somebody goes through Refresh or Smokescreen, we're collecting both pre and post data, which means that we are and by the way, completely anonymized, no personally identifiable information. But we're collecting a very large data set, and we will be, our goal is to publish that data over time.
Great. I know that a lot of you in the meeting don't necessarily work directly for a school, but you have great partnerships with schools. So we would love to share this information with the schools that you partner with. I think a multi-pronged approach is, always the most helpful. And sharing that information with schools. I'm unstable again. I'm going in and out, but sharing that information. Kirby, I shared your contact information in the chat with Dr. Wilson from PAVE. I hope that was okay with you, but I also put a link to your website as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Playbl.com, Playbl.com. And my email is just kirby@playbl.com, KIRBY. So please feel free to reach out. There's a form on our website that you can fill out if you want to request more information or a demo. There's a newsletter that pops up. You can sign up for our newsletter. And I also just want to point out, we do work with community-based organizations. We work with prevention and treatment organizations. We actually just signed up a group in Tennessee called Metro Prevention Coalition that works with their local public schools in Knoxville, Tennessee. But they also do community-based work. And so these games are very flexible in how they can be used and the different settings in which they can be used. It looks like Dr. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson, do you have a question? Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Kirby. My name is Dr. Monica Wilson. I'm the Regional Director for Parents Against Vaping E-Cigarettes. Your presentation couldn't be more timely, and I really appreciate you providing something that we've been looking for to share with parents in regards to an evidence-based cessation, type of program that could be designed to support some of the challenges that we know that our youth are facing across the nation. I was wondering, do you have to have parental approval to actually provide the service to provide this to the students in the schools?
No, we don't. And the reason is that the schools take on the responsibility of it's sort of in loco parentis. It's part of the privacy, our privacy policy, and that pretty much all programs that are implemented in schools, or the vast majority of programs, the school takes on the responsibility sort of for the parents. And so we have not had to go and none of the schools that we work with have had to get parental permission.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do students, so when they're participating in the gameplay, I know you mentioned it's recommended to have at least 3 30-minute sessions. Are they able to do the game like on their own time, or does it have to be during class, during school hours when the teacher tells them to, or is it just like, could they assign it as homework to do at home, or just on their free time? How does that work?
Yep, it's exactly, I mean, it's extremely flexible. And so it can be used either in the classroom or outside of the classroom. It can be a homework assignment. What we often see is that it is the first 30, the first 90 minutes, those 30-minute sessions is done during classroom time. But then the kids can continue playing after that. And in either the teachers will say, if you finished your work on a, Friday afternoon, you can go ahead and log into Smokescreen and play, and the kids are super excited to do that. Or, kids can be incentivized with extra credit or other things. We had a teacher who gave out gift cards for kids who finished the whole game. So there's a variety of different ways that you can that you can implement, and that's, I think, one of the real advantages of it.
Cool. And is it app based where they can do it on a mobile device, or does it have to be on a school device? How
Yep,
does
they
that
can
work?
do it on a mobile device, or I mean, I think optimally it's implemented on a laptop, just because it's bigger or a bigger screen.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be done on a mobile device, and when you log in, and each student has their own gameplay experience, and so when you log out, and then let's say the next day you log back in, it picks up exactly where you left off. And it doesn't matter what type of device you're using. It's gonna remember where you were in the game and pick up from where you were.
Okay, neat. Any other questions?
Hello. Yeah. Just a comment. I put in the chat. So I think I hit send. Ashley Watts, Kirby. We have a county coalition that bridges, really brings the school districts together, and is focused on youth risk reduction when it comes to alcohol, drugs, marijuana, nicotine. And when you said you do like a demo, I think this group, we really could get all 4 school districts involved in this, I think. If
Yep.
how do you do the demo? I mean, can you do that remotely? And how long does the demo take?
Yeah, we do it right just exactly how we did it today.
Okay.
So I think that yeah, we basically walked them through the same presentation that I just did today, um, and then we can, follow up with all kinds of stuff. We've got white papers. We've got, some people like to see the actual published studies. We can send those out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how we do it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk with the director, and I noticed that she's not on this call, but get her to watch the video recording, and then we'll probably be in touch, because we actually do a life skills set, in the 6th grades in all 4 school districts
Yeah.
in connection with the alcohol and drug abuse state
Yep.
group, and it would dovetail just great with that, and
Yeah.
well, good. Yeah. All right.
We've been implemented in life skills and SEL classes, in addition to health classes. So that's a perfect place for it. Yeah.
It's right in. Okay, great. Really, really good. Thanks.
Yeah, I thought about Ashley during the presentation, so hopefully you can chat with her, Dr. Keeley. Kirby, I downloaded the white paper for Smokescreen, I believe.
Yes.
Is it okay if I share that with folks on the meeting?
Please.
If
Yeah.
they want to take it to folks?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
No problem.
I can send
And
that
the
out.
white paper is basically just synthesizes the published studies on Smokescreen, and kind of makes it easier, as opposed to having to go read all the fine print of all the studies. It just kind of pulls it all together into a few pages.
Right. More information to take back. All right, any other questions or anything that anyone would like to share from their organizations or coalitions?
Well, I would just want to say, Kirby, perfect timing. Parents Against Vaping E-Cigarettes, we're going to be having a lunch and learn with 735 of our parent groups, as well as schools that we've partnered with to provide, just like you said, education and awareness around the issue. And I would love to have you actually be able to be a part of that. So I will be reaching out if you don't mind, and I'll put my
Please, yeah.
information also in the chat. This was really phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd love to follow up with you, and maybe we can have a separate call. That would be great.
Wonderful.
I think Refresh Parent Edition, based on what you're describing, could be a really nice resource to
Mm-hmm.
share out to your community. So
Wonderful.
we could talk about a way that you could get that out.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That would be awesome. We love your resources, Dr. Wilson. We share them, attend them. So I'm glad y'all can make the connection. Great. Well,
This is
I
my
thank you
first
all.
meeting. I just want to say, and I'm on the West Coast. It's 7 in the morning, and I'm just excited. I will be, if you haven't, we wanted to be a part of, a broader audience in regards to support and information. And so I'm just honored to be here. Thank you.
Much for joining us at 7 a.m. We're flattered. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us this Friday morning. I hope you have a great weekend, a great holiday next week. If you're going anywhere, travel safely. As always, we record these meetings, so we'll put it on our website soon so you can access it. You can share it with your connections, your partners, and things like that. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions, and we will share our next monthly roundtable on our e-newsletter. So if you don't receive our e-newsletter, be sure to sign up for that so you can continue to join us and make more connections and gather more information.
Hey, one thing, Tara, I did notice I went to the website, and where you click on the roundtable, there wasn't a button to register. I don't know where it went.
Okay.
I
Well,
might
I
want
will
to check.
figure out.
Yeah.
I'll figure out what happened with the button.
Yeah, because I checked it on my laptop and on my phone, and it wasn't there. So just go ahead and check that out. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will go online when we end this and figure out what happened with it.
Okay.
Thanks,
All
Dr.
right.
Keeley. All right. Bye, y'all. Have
Thank
a good
you.
weekend.
All right.
Thank you,
Everybody,
guys.
thanks so
Weekend,
much
everyone.
for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.